This is what my kindergartner's monster looks like. I have all the pieces cut out and they're laid where they go like a puzzle. But what we're gonna do to start sewing is we need to just sew one piece on at a time. So first of all, your back part can get put off to the side. That is the very last step. So I have all these parts that need to be sewn on. This part was gonna be too hard to make out of felt, so I just drew it on with Sharpies. So I'm gonna get rid of this small piece and I'm gonna get rid of these small pieces. And I'm gonna sew just the clothes. My kindergartner drew clothes. I'm gonna draw my clothes, sew my clothes onto my person. So what I did was I got a color of thread that matched the color of the clothes as close as possible. So it's kind of this tealy blue color. And I went ahead and threaded my needle. There's my needle. And the knot is at this end. So there's also videos on that if you haven't done that yet. So I have my needle, my long thread, I have my 2 parts to sew together. That's all we need right now. Make sure nothing else is stuck on here, otherwise it's gonna fall off. So I'm gonna line these up as closely as possible to where I want them. All right there. And then I'm gonna take my needle and I need to put it through the back. We always wanna start our knots on the back, otherwise they're going to show on the front. So I messed it up just a little bit. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna put it through on the back. And just like in the video where I showed you what to do, because watch what happens. I'm gonna put my needle through and I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna skip that trick that I showed you for if your knot comes through your fabric. So I'm gonna skip that trick and look what happened. My thread came right through my fabric. It didn't do anything. It didn't stay anywhere. That's because the thread is just too small. So I need to put it back through the back. Okay, so now I'm a little far from the side. Let's see if I can get that a little bit closer to the side. Maybe about right there, like that. So I'm gonna put it through and then I'm gonna pull my needle until we're almost at the knot. So I'm pulling that thread, pull, 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 pull. Okay, I'm at the knot right there. There's my knot. So I have a little bit of extra thread before my knot. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to put my needle back through, but this time I'm putting it back through the front. So pick a spot that's like really close by, but not right on top. Stick it through the front, grab your needle, and before I start pulling, I need to put it through this loop right here. Put it through that loop, and now I'm gonna pull, 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 pull until it stops, and there we go. Now it's locked into place, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so I've made my first stitch. So what we're gonna do now is what's called a running stitch. This would be a little easier to show if I was doing a different color, but we'll see if we can see it well enough with the blue. So now I'm just gonna pick a spot that's close to where I just made a stitch and go up, pull it. You don't have to do that trapping trick any other time except the first time. I got a little knot on the back, so I just kind of pull at it and it came out. Go up, go down. This is called a running stitch. It should make kind of a dash line, which again is a little hard to see because we're doing the same color, but that's kind of the point. We want this to be a little bit hard to see. So I'm going to do a couple more stitches so you can see what I'm doing. Go up, go down, go up, go down. So you're going to do this all the way around your piece that you're sewing on, whatever it might be. Oops, I stuck that way in the wrong place. Watch your fingers because you can easily stick them. I keep missing. There we go. Sometimes it just takes some trial and error until you get it in the right place. I got to turn my stitching now. I'm going up around the neck. Oh, I accidentally looped it around the arm. Just pull that off. There we go. Pull it tight. Okay. The closer together you keep your stitches, the nicer this will look. So keep them nice and tight, nice and close together. Smaller than a staple. I'll come back when I am done with this. All right, I know it's really hard to see, but I have finished my stitching around the outside of this shirt swimsuit thing. So it is a teal that matches the shirt swimsuit thing, so that is why it's so hard to see. So if you can tell, I'm gonna get really close. You can see that there's stitches all the way around it, holding it down. They're all smaller than a stapler. They're holding it really nicely, very secure. I've sewn it on all 4 sides. So now I'm on the back of my little monster, And so I have all this extra thread, and I also need to end my stitch. So when you're finished with either a color, or maybe your color is getting a little too short, you need to end your stitch. So here's how we end our stitch. I'm going to try to make this really easy to see. So when you end your stitch, we just have to tie a special kind of knot. So here is where this is coming out of my monster, right here. So I'm going to pick the stitch that's close. This one's really close, okay? So I need to tie my knot to this stitch. Here's how we do it. Stick your needle under that stitch, under that stitch. Start pulling it, and it makes a loop on the back of my thread. So I'm going to keep pulling. Okay, do you see the loop it made, kind of like a horseshoe right here? Stick your needle through that loop, and now pull it tight. That's a single knot. We always do everything twice. Go under the same stitch, same exact stitch, or else it doesn't count. Same stitch, pull it until you get a little horseshoe. There it is. Put your needle through that loop and pull it tight. Should feel like a nice snug knot. There we go. Nice tied off. Now I'm going to take my scissors and never cut it right up against the knot. Cut it out here. There we go. So you can actually see it on the back a little better where those stitches are. If you have loops and extra things like this, that's actually not a big deal. As long as it's on the back, it's going to be hidden inside of our little stuffy monster. Okay, so there we go. First piece sewn on.